Hi everyone, I'm Steve Konopelski, and pie season is upon us, which means everyone is freaking out because they're trying to make the perfect holiday pie. Perhaps in the past you've had fruit filling that's exploded, maybe the top got burnt, or your bottom crust is still raw. I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks to help you avoid all of those problems, and maybe this year your holiday pie will be a perfect one. So come on, let's bake. So, this is how I make all of my pies. Whether it is a custard pie or a fruit pie, whether it is essentially a naked top or it has a crust on top. I always start with, wait for it, a blind baked crust. I never, ever bake my fruit pies, especially in a raw crust. I always do it with a blind baked crust, and here's why. This ensures that the bottom crust is always nice and crispy. It just makes for a much better mouthfeel and makes for a much better pie. So, check your crust, make sure it has no holes in it, which mine doesn't, and then we can add our filling. Now, here's another secret. Don't bake your fruit filling in the oven. It could take up to 1.5 hours for the fruit to cook all the way through. Why not make it on the stovetop instead? Make your own pie filling, or if you're in a pinch, you can just use canned. I'm using a pie filling I made myself. So, we've got a nice apple pie filling, and I'm just going to dump that right in here. This way I can put as much as I want. Now remember, right now, essentially, this pie is ready to go. The crust is baked, the fruit filling is baked, and now, from here, I can do sort of any number of things. If I wanted to, I could make like a streusel topping, almost like a Dutch apple pie, for example. All I'd need to do is put it in the oven until the streusel topping is baked. But I'm actually going to make a pretty lattice top for this pie. And let's see how we do that, okay? Time to roll some dough. So, as you can see, to roll out my pie dough, I use 2 pieces of parchment paper. I use hardly any flour, and that way I don't get a tough crust. I don't have to worry about working it into the counter forever, and I don't have to worry about it sticking, because I can just peel the parchment off. It also allows me to spin the pie dough whichever way I want it. That way I can roll it from any angle, and I can flip it over so I can get it even on both sides. Pretty cool trick, huh? So, I took my pie dough and I cut it into strips, and now I'm going to make a topping for my pie. Did you know raw pie dough sticks perfectly to baked pie dough? So now I can make a topping for this pie, and all I have to do is put it in the oven and wait for this to get golden brown, because the bottom crust is already done and the filling is already cooked. Great trick. So I'm going to overlap a little bit, and I can just pinch it right to the sides, and then it's going to stick perfectly. If I want to, I can take some scraps and I can make a really nice decorative border on the outside. It's just whatever you want to do. You want to use your fatter strips in the middle and your shorter ones towards the end. And now I'm basically going to make a weave. So I'm going to turn it, I'm going to fold back every other one. Just slide them right here. Then I'll pull these back, and I'll fold back the other 2, and this is how I make a basket weave. You could use an egg wash and glue down the overlapping corners if you want to, but it's not really necessary. Because remember, raw pie dough also sticks to itself. Alright, so now I have this pretty lattice top. And I'm just going to go around and seal it to the baked edge. And then I'll trim off the excess. Just pinch it down really well. There. And I can just take my pizza cutter Go ahead and trim these edges. When I baked my pie crust, I left a little bit of a lip, so now I can wrap the dough sort of underneath it, and you'll never know that it was two separate parts. Just mash it down in there. Great. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So now, all I have to do is pop it in the oven and wait for this little lattice top to get golden brown. That's it. Now, if you were to do this with raw pie filling in the middle, as it bakes, it's going to bubble up and explode over the top, and then your lattice top would be pretty ugly. This way, it's going to be nice and neat. So I'm actually going to just brush it with a little bit of egg wash, sprinkle with a little bit of sugar, and then pop it in the oven. I'm baking it at 325, but you could also bake at 350. I've got a convection oven, so it's going to bake a little faster and hotter, and then we'll take a look at it when it's done. So, my pie is finished baking, and looks like this. Pretty cool, huh? Perfectly golden crust all the way around, and the best part about it is, wait for it, how many of you are able to do this with a pie you bake the traditional way? Crust is perfectly brown on the bottom. It's nice and crispy. Fruit is cooked all the way through. Golden brown top. I mean, it wasn't very hard. I love doing pies this way because I always ensure that I'm going to have a perfectly golden bottom crust. I'm going to have a perfectly cooked filling, and I'm going to have a perfectly topped crust as well. If you wanted a shortcut, you could even do this with store-bought pie dough. You'll save yourself a couple of steps, but either way, you're going to have a perfect holiday pie every time. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Konopelski, and I hope your pie season is a perfect one. Happy baking!